My first time on stage ever, so hey, be gentle. Thank you. Yeah, as you were already told, I'm here to tell you a journey today, which we took to start an employee portal for our desk workers, but something new as well for our frontline workers. And that journey started roughly 2 years ago, had a lead time of 3 months, and we implemented in that time roughly 23 apps. And I have the pleasure today to present that story to you, not just on my behalf, but actually on behalf of a cross-functional team. And this is something that we think makes us unique and which was also a key factor for our success. So I'm not just here to introduce myself to you, but also to get you to know the faces of my colleagues, Katja and Moko, from Group Communication, Group HR, because together we achieved what we have today and which we're actually quite proud of. But before I tell you about our change story, you have to get to know us a little bit better. Who are we and what do we do? Dussmann Group is represented in roughly 21 countries worldwide, and we have 65,000 employees, more or less. And a majority of those employees does the service for our customers. We are a multi-service provider, personally. So there's a lot of manual work happening there. And the services that we offer to our customers are related to people. Our main business branch, Dussmann, consists roughly out of 3 areas. Dussmann Food Services, who are professionals for catering. Then we have Dussmann Facility Management. Basically, this covers everything from cleaning, over security, to janitorial services. And we have Dussmann Technical Solutions. This is an area that provides services for the whole life cycle of technical equipment, such as electrical engineering, refrigerating systems, elevator systems, and air conditioning systems. So we're not just creating services, but we also really build products. On top of that, because it fits so well into the portfolio, we have a media retail, where it is quite known actually, beyond the borders of Berlin. It is a really, really nice house in the center of Berlin. We sell books, media, music. You get very well advised there, so whoever visits Berlin, go and take a look, it's really worth it. And on top of having those services that we do by people for other companies, we actually really also have services that we do for other people, which is our branches Cursana and Kulturkindergärten. Cursana is a company that is one of the leading German private providers when it comes to nursing and taking care of elderly people, as well as the Kulturkindergärten, which offer our customers the possibility to offer their employees corporate childcare. So you see, this is quite a wide range of services that we have to offer, which is why when I meet new people and they ask me, what do you do, usually answer quite lazily, don't ask me what we do, ask me what we don't do. That makes it much easier. Because basically, we do everything. What the customer says he wants, we do it. And we even go one step further because we try to anticipate what our customer would like to have, and we offer that in advance, hopefully. That sounds fun, but that also creates a certain challenge. Because when you have such a wide range of processes and services to offer, your processes are very individual, and you have a high amount of them. What happens when you have a high amount of individual processes? A very nice, complex IT landscape. I lovingly sometimes call this our solar system, and this is just a simplified example of our landscape in the DACH area. So as you're all aware, the universe is huge, and it's got more than one solar system. So is Dussmann. So we've got more than this. So you can just imagine for every legal entity, for every country that we have to offer, they bring something like that with them. So working in IT is fun, roughly. So this was where we were at in 2020. So we covered the whole life cycle of our processes in our IT landscape with a core of SAP ERP. together with SAP HCM, they're basically our backbone and connected to a countless amount of interfaces. Internal interfaces, but also interfaces to tools from our customers and our suppliers. And in the end, when you face digitalization, you are having different aspects that you're looking at when you want to change things. So looking out of internal communication, what kind of challenges did they have? Can you actually imagine that from our 65,000 employees worldwide, we could digitally reach 15% of them? The rest didn't have a digital identity at our place. So the only way we could reach them was by paper. Well, paper takes time. So you're not always up to date with your communication. So when wanting to digitalize, communication was having the requirement of having one system to reach everybody immediately, basically, through all the devices possible, right? And what did they want to do with this? Or what was the requirement they were having? They wanted to deliver also our values, implement people, include them better in our company, and actually make them identify with us, right? Then you have human resources. You heard 15% connected digitally. What does it mean for HR processes? It means, just looking at Germany as well, we had roughly 19,000 employees who were driving the HR processes by paper. So HR was having a lot of fun. Just imagine a few people a year changing their name because they marry, or their bank data is changing, or they're living somewhere else. And there are many, many more processes that are connected to that. And that was all driven by paper. So it is also fun when you have to type that into your computer. Huh? Really a fun job. And they were having the requirement of implementing an HR suite that offers, in the end, not just the standardization of their processes, but also a way to involve people more directly. So employee and manager self-services, that HR is not the copy-paster from left to right. And then there was IT. Well, you've seen our multiverse. Anybody who works in IT and really bleeds for it, he wants to have a universe, right? So in the end, what we wanted was a standardized and centralized system where we could really manage the access for everybody. And we got a bit crazy and said, you know what? Let's work together and have that all covered in one tool and not, again, many more. And that's why we decided to go out of this impulse of wanting to work more centralized, paperless, and more efficient, and start the path together of moving data faster through our systems, but also, in the end, engaging our employees more directly. And we set ourselves the goal of wanting to have one portal accessible to everybody. And thus, our vision was created, which we shortly call One for All. One for all meaning one for all systems. So reachable by mobile and by desktop, but also connectable to all databases, no matter whether it's cloud or on-premise. One for all of our companies, no matter which country or legal entity. One in which we could hand out all of our processes to our people and make them accessible, no matter whether it's communication, HR, operations, or commercial processes. And most importantly, to have finally a portal that is accessible to all of our employees, not just the 15%, but the rest as well. So that was our ambitious vision, and we saw a potential of doing that with Neptune DXP. Why is that? Well, we were already a customer in Planet 8, so we knew the benefits of being connected to SAP, which we wanted to keep. In the end, it's nevertheless our backbone. We also knew, though, that we could connect any other database to it. So that was a good benefit. We also could keep our Active Directory in Azure and not create an additional access point for our people that were already working at our place. Just a little side note, when we were making interviews in the beginning, we had people telling us that they have to manage about 40 passwords to do the work in our company for the different systems. So hey, we didn't implement another password here. That was good. They liked that. There was a benefit. But on top of that, that only covered the 15%, the DXP brought its own user management. So for all those guys that were not connected with our company digitally, we had a solution. And that's why we said we saw the possibility of actually realizing our vision of this centralized employee portal with this one-for-all vision in Neptune platform. And we called it My Dussmann, keeping it simple. And this all happened on a very interesting day in April 2022 when Klaus Langenberg came to us. And I'm always saying he made us an offer we couldn't refuse. It was so sweet because he showed us really the potential of our vision becoming true. You know, we for the first time saw we could really do this. Cool. And we were in the middle of a project. Actually, we were already testing the system in HR Suite, another one, new password for everybody. And we decided, you know what? Nah, let's stop it. And we went to our board and told them about this offer and this vision, and we got approval within 3 months. From the day Klaus was at our door, 3 months later, we had everything. A contract, approval, invest, everything done. With one requirement. Hey guys, you had promised us you're going live on October 1st with your HR suite. Can you keep that? Yeah. And what followed then was a very interesting 3 months of process definition, including development, user acceptance test. There are a few guys here that have actually helped us, like Thorsten and Mandy, Avinash, Andreas, Abesh, you were all there, Max from Castana, and helped us. And my personal highlight, I'm sorry that I have to mention it, but it was when we broke Thorsten Wolf, the always optimistic guy, one day before go live, when he just went like, no. Yes, we waited. So people usually ask us, why 3 months? Well, because it was a requirement from management. So we made it, don't ask us how. Do we want to repeat it? We said no, and then we ended up repeating it all the time, so we're not learning out of mistakes. Because after the 1st of October, we ended up being actually in this 3 months release mode that we have, and we keep on having it. Sometimes it's just minor things, and sometimes it's bigger things, but even with our last project that we started last year, in February, a time clocking system for 9,500 people, nothing big, no problem. We went into the pilot after 3 months. So this number 3 seems to hunt us. We've accepted it by now. But you can imagine that such high speed and change that you bring into a company needs more than just IT. It needs communication. Communication in various aspects, actually. You need certain material that you hand out to your people, flyers, posters, videos, whatever you can to make them understand what is happening. But also internal communication towards your stakeholders. You need to make sure that everybody is in line and knows all the time what the vision is, because in the end, when you have a company like ours, I never get to talk to those people at the desk at the front line. I cannot even reach them because all I can send them is a letter home, hoping that they would read it. So you need your organization to carry the change for you. So you constantly need to communicate and make sure that everybody is on the same page, and that you listen also to the worries of the people that are maybe not yet on the same page, and pay attention to that as well. And on top of that, you get another requirement in the end, which is when you communicate with your people, realize what the real demands of your target group are. Heda has said it already, we got a very interesting target group. We have people that were born with a smartphone in the cradle, up until people that have never ever in their life owned a mobile device or a computer before. We have people that spend their day doing 100% manual work, and people like me who spend all of their day in front of a computer. We have basically every nationality, every age, every educational background to offer. And all of those people we want to integrate. So this is also kind of a challenge. And you have to ask yourself, what do I need to do to get all of them on my side and have them understand this vision? So what are the requirements? Simplicity of use, a clear and understandable structure, and in the end, it's got to be intuitive. And that goes beyond, again, IT. Maybe you've seen it and maybe not. But if you look on the poster on the right side, there's a QR code. Why is that? Because we realized that sometimes our guys were not writing the URL the right way. So you try to be as simple as possible. Take a picture. You get guided to that URL. You cannot type it wrong. Minor things like that make the difference. And that only comes if you listen to your target group. So when we, in the end, in October 2020, went live, we had 3 different target groups who we were offering different services. The first and the newest target group were our first-line workers. We offered them a self-service registration and password reset process. Further on top, for the first time, they were live, integrated in global and local news. And you can imagine in times like COVID, this was really important because rules were changing every day. So out of the sudden, we had a tool with which we could communicate with our people, not just with paper. They can retrieve their certificates, like payslip. Sounds like nothing, but if you're somebody who's really looking for his money and who wants to check, has my boss been clocking my time correctly? Am I getting the money I'm expecting? Retrieving your payslip 7 days earlier than you would do it by paper is a benefit because you can interact earlier. Changing your master data. I'm living somewhere else. I have new bank details or whatsoever. In the past, you had to send a letter, so you had to spend money on sending it by post. You don't have to anymore. You can register for free on the portal, and you have it immediately. Maybe the letter that takes time until somebody has copied it. Maybe your money this month doesn't go into the right account. If you do it digitally, it goes quicker, right? So that's all benefits we gave them beyond others. Our desk workers, they got all that too. And they got a little bit more. For example, the migration of our former P8 functionalities. They would have been a bit mad if that would have gone. So yes, you can keep it. They also received a digital leave request and a team calendar. And we integrated through single sign-on a few of other tools for HR services as well as our intranet. So, hey, we eliminated a few passwords. They liked us for that. And then at the very last, we had the target group of the management. In the end, they got everything else as everybody else. But since we digitalized some processes, we had workflows. Out of the sudden, somebody needed to be responsible for workflows. So that's what they got on top. And because at that time, 2020, this was kind of a one-woman show. I was the only one in IT responsible on Dussmann's side for all this. So, well, not that. But can you imagine how much I was looking forward to potentially taking care of 17,000 users? Totally. So what was my requirement? I want a user management, including role assignment for the whole life cycle of the employee. Onboarding, changes, offboarding, automatically. Hey, Neptune, nothing big. You can do this. Don't worry, right? Hey, we have it. So we're happy with that. And not just we were happy, we asked our people, do you like it? In the end, we did it for you, not for us. One of the first feedbacks was, hey, it works. And I thought, if that's the requirement, yeah. You sometimes know how to take it, no? When the base requirement of your people is you roll something out, please make it work. Not from you, but from them. But we got also other positive feedback. In the end, we asked them, do you like the design? Do you get along? 4.62 out of 5 stars. Speaks for itself, I think. It also shows, yeah, we can improve, but we had a good start. We asked them, do you find it simple to use? Score 82 out of 100, say, yeah, it's cool. I get along. And the same thing for recommendations. Would you recommend it to other colleagues? 91 out of 100 points, yes, I would recommend it. So we felt quite flattered and motivated, and so we kept on. Up until today, we have 6 legal entities included in this portal, and actually, wait, what do we have today? Next week, we're taking another one in. Just 500 employees, but every legal entity needs, again, change and communication, right? We offer by now up to 40-ish apps in 12 languages. And what you need to know, this portal is on a completely voluntary base. So we're forcing nobody into it to use it. And yet, we have above 12,500 users in our portal already, from potential 19,000, roughly. That makes us very happy. And when we went live in the very beginning, our chairman of board told to us, you know what? This is not a never-ending story, because you keep on finishing those stories successfully. We keep on having one success story after the other. But what you are doing is you are in a long-lasting journey, because what we're doing here, we take one step after the other to actually fulfill our vision. And that's what we are on. Since we started, everything that you see here in green is basically what we have achieved already. So from the initial apps that you were just told about, we started last year of implementing a COVID-19 status app for our employees. Something very challenging if you're trying to keep in mind that we work in hospitals, we work in childcare, we work for elderly people. So this was very demanding for us to fulfill all the requirements. And just beginning of this month, on the 1st of June, we implemented a time booking system for our cleaning department. It has a potential range for 9,500 people, all first-line workers. And this project is for us just a success story in itself, because this project was the 6th try in our company of implementing a digital time booking. And we were the only successful one. So, thank you. But just because we're done now, it's no time to getting lazy. Already for this year, we have a few more things on the agenda, just as much for next year. We are wanting to offer to all of our first-line workers also the possibility of making digital leave requests. And we also want to digitalize our employment process. Now, this sounds like nothing to you, but if you know who we are not having out job offers that we look for people for 3 months, weeks, or whatsoever. But in our business, today somebody is dropping out. So you're asking around, does anybody know anybody who can start working here? Yeah, I know somebody, I'm bringing you my friend. He's signing the contract, he starts working tomorrow. So digitalize that process. Looking forward to the next one. But what we learned as well is that in the past years, we have been focusing a lot on doing big functional implementations. So focusing on processes. And what we want to do on top as of now is focus more on the fundamentals. We have learned in other stories today how it is important that you look at your fundamentals to later be scalable. And in the end, that is the expectation for us as well. Currently, we are in the DACH area. We already got people asking us, when can you go into other countries? Okay, wait, let us a little bit do some fundamentals like integrating a document or content management system and many other more. And that's what we will try to do. And usually people ask us, so what made you successful? Why didn't you fail? At single projects or at the whole complete story of this portal? And our main feedback in brief is usually focus and teamwork. Focus on your target group. Find out what they need, because they're the ones who need to use it. If you do what you want or what your management wants, they might use it if they have to, but not if they want to. Give yourself a reasonable time frame. maybe don't try to fall into those 3-month traps if you don't have to. Know that complex projects succeed and fail with your team and their expertise. I told you in the beginning that we care about that we are a cross-functional team. And even in a situation like here, you don't know us, and yet it is important to us that you know that we're working together as a team. And that's kind of a team spirit that we carry into every aspect of our work, internally and externally. Maybe sometimes also accept that a pragmatic solution today is better than a potentially perfect solution in the future. And honestly speaking, there is no perfectionism. If you accept that, you're already a few steps ahead. But what happens when you try to achieve perfectionism? It takes you years, at least months. And a pragmatic 50% solution today still kills 50% of the pain of your business today. And you can still work tomorrow on making it 60%, and the day after on making 70 out of it. Depending on the process, whether you can afford that or not. But at most times, you can. Make sure that everybody knows the goal, what you're working on. Not just your close team, your stakeholders, your organization. Because if you convince them that this is what is the right thing, and why you do this, and what's the long shot, they also accept pragmatic solutions, because they know you're not just dropping something and you're gone. They know you're there also tomorrow and the day after. A colleague of mine once told me, if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. So maybe that's also something you need to embrace. No project ever goes as it's planned. And either way, you let yourself getting struggled by this, or you even try fixedly to still try to push the plan through, and then you fail on your project, or you embrace that you need to be flexible and adjust yourself and maybe also your project to the new situation. And most importantly, don't just look internally, but trust your partners. You heard that in the beginning, I was all by myself. I could have IT-wise. I had very nice colleagues from the other departments. But I had support. And we embraced Neptune and our other partners from the beginning on, not just as a partner, supplier, or we had no relationship customer, supplier-wise, but they were part of our team. They participated in every meeting. We were 100% transparent when it came to success, but also failure. And we found a solution together. And this is how we managed to go on this path in the past years, and it is exactly how we intend to go the path in the next years as well. Because we know that we trust each other and that we can always find a solution together. Hey, I still wanted it.
The clock is ticking. Amazing. Amazing. 3 months. 3 months. You set the pace. That's the threshold everyone has to follow now.
Look at the lessons learned. I said reasonable time frame, yeah?
Yeah, but that's only possible, as you said, if you work in a team, if Neptune sits on the same side of the table as our customers. And that's the way we like to run our projects. We want to help our customers, not being just a vendor. We want to be on the same side. Thank you, Christine. But before you go, we have a Q&A. So, you're not off the hook yet. So, questions, anyone? For Dussmann? Yes, there's a question there.
Hi, Christine.
There.
Not a question, but I wanted to say it's an incredible story which you shared with us. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was easy, thank you.
Now, we have another question there.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Could you say something about your organizational setup? So how are you running the business now with the intern developers? What kind of competence do they have, and so on?
Currently, we have 2 further internal developers, and we are stocking up the team to a 3rd one by August. And we're currently rather trying to have the internal developers focus on the fundamentals and the baselines, as well as the day-to-day business, from user support to release management, so whatever, let's call it, core topics are. And with our partners, we try to work on the projects, on the bigger projects. So everything that's a change request, we try to do internally. But for example, this digital contract thing, we will do that with a partner together, because we know the expertise for making such a complex story we don't have yet internally. So that's where we kind of try the split. Everything that's minor changes in day-to-day business is handled internally, and bigger things externally. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, almost. So what's the competence level of your internal developers?
Okay. You would call them application developers, basically. So we have, including the one guy that is starting, 2 guys that have kind of 10 years of experience as application developers. And we've got another guy of 20 years of experience as a full stack developer. We focus on our side, not on ABAP, because we have other IT departments that have ABAP developers, and in general, the strategy within Dussmann is to do that rather externally. So when we do ABAP and it's something small, we do that internally. When it's bigger, we get external consultants in there. And my team solely focuses on the front end.
But the ABAP developers that you're having, they're using then the API factory to just provide the API over to the front end, so they don't...
They can, yeah. So far, actually, we did that on our own. One of my colleagues is sitting almost next to you. Yeah, and myself, but for sure on a scale as we are currently having it, that's not holdable anymore. So that's why we're looking for further support.
Okay. And we don't have time for more questions, but feel free. Christin is here for the day. So there's a lot of opportunities to interact, and we highly encourage you to do so. Thank you, Christin.
Thank you.
Thank you.